Test 1 2
Hello,
1 2.
hello. We are good to go. Welcome to Snake's Revenge speedrun, sequel to Metal Gear on the NES, entirely produced by Konami. And we are ready to go.
Good luck.
So, Konami made a sequel to the game because they wanted to make one. They enjoyed the first one, so Hideo Kojima was not making this game with them, and later he made his own sequel, Metal Gear 2. And this plays a lot like the first Metal Gear, which I actually haven't played. I bought it, but I didn't have the time to learn the speedrun of it, so this has been a childhood game of mine, so I decided to just do speedrun. So there are a lot of sneaking sections. In this first section we avoid the lights, and then we sacrifice our friend John Turner. We call him and the enemy catches him. We have a short cutscene of that. And for some reason the enemy leave the door open, so we can simply enter the place. The run is kinda heavy on the RNG side, because you'll be taking a lot of damage in bosses and random places, so we're gonna try farm a lot of food and rations from the enemies, and you do that by punching them 3 times. You have a knife, but if you use the knife, then you have no chances of getting ammo or food drops.
And in terms of sneaking, in all these screens, once you enter them, the guards start at the same spot, but their movement and when they turn after that is random. Is that correct?
Yeah, like here the guard stood still for a while, so sometimes he just straight goes up and I'm free to go. I got 1 food drop there, so I'm pretty much safe for the first boss. And here we pick up a silencer, so after this we're able to use the pistol indoors without attracting any enemies with the pistol sound. There's also a shotgun and a machine gun in this game, but we're not gonna get those in the speedrun. Enjoy the music, it is great Konami quality. In terms of like tricks and glitches, there aren't that many, so it's mostly systematic execution, knowing where the guards are and remembering which key cards go to which doors. So we have these prisoners of war that we're gonna be rescuing to rank up, and what ranking up does, it gives us more health and more carrying capacity, and we're gonna need the carrying capacity to carry enough weapons to kill every boss. So we'll be grabbing the most convenient prisoners. Another key card here. So most of the time we want to punch the guards for food drops, but sometimes they're too far to be reached in time, or sometimes it's just not a good way to go. Also, if there is an alert, which is if the enemy see us or if we touch them on accident, then you can't get any drops during those, so you can't just alert the enemies and farm drops from them. And there was another RNG section where the guard just spin around and you just wait for the right moment to go past. It's pretty bad if you get an alert there, because then you're just gonna have to kill all the enemies, and that takes even longer. So here's a nice mechanic where the rooms reset every time you exit them, so you're able to farm the same item multiple times. There's another ration there, so we are very safe for the beginning. And here we pick up some grenades, which we'll use for the second boss of the game. We'll also pick up 3 of them. So the game also has side-scrolling sections, such as that elevator right there. Okay. So here is the first one, where we actually have to do fighting. And the controls are very much different from the top-down sections. And these are, well, they're very different to the game, because in the top-down sections you are doing a lot of sneaking around, but here you just can't get past enemies, so you just have to kill everyone and try to do that sneakily. There's also these long swimming sections where you have to crawl in a tunnel, and you can imagine in a casual play going into one of those, realizing you don't have enough health or oxygen tanks to go through it, and then you turn around and it's already too late. So the game has a lot of rules where you go there, you realize you're screwed, and then you're just gonna have to try again after you die. So here's the first boss of the game, football players, because that makes sense. So we're gonna use the plastic explosives to damage them, and there's a very tight timing for the movement if you don't want to get hit, but we have the ration to make sure we survive this boss. That was pretty nice. So coming up is a trick where we are gonna kind of clip through 2 boxes that are blocking a door. Normally you're supposed to shoot or blow them up, and that takes a bit of time, but if we punch them, we can actually stun the box and then just walk over it. So well, that was a little late. The stun ends, so you have to turn around fast enough. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, good. We made it through without dying. It's not a bad thing to die there, really. We get full health and we respawn at the last elevator. So sometimes, if you want to save a ration, you can just take a death after an elevator. So, about the plot of the game, I think this is Middle East, where they heard that there are Metal Gears being produced there for war, so they sent Snake to destroy those Metal Gears, and we have now infiltrated the boat with the Metal Gears on it. And we're gonna enter the second boss of the game now. And there are people with sandbags in pits on a boat throwing grenades.
It makes sense.
That's a bit unfortunate. I didn't see that coming. When you go for the left one, the right one is kind of on the edge of his throwing range, so it can be a little difficult to predict where he's actually gonna throw the grenade compared to the middle one, where they're always able to reach the spot that they actually want to throw it to, so you can just do predictable movement there. So it's 6 grenades for one of them, and then for the last one we're gonna have to use more explosives. Okay, this is good now. go.
Good job.
See if we can get some Russian drops for later. So now we're entering a completely black room where you're normally supposed to use a flare gun, or you can just feel your way around the rooms. Here you see the Metal Gears. There are those enemies that you can't see in the dark. You would obviously see them if you were to use the flare gun, but we reach the ammo cache, we blow it up, and all the enemies leave, so it doesn't really make a difference if we get noticed there or not. So here's the epic escape sequence where we make our way out of the boat to some more bad news coming up. Metal Gear is destroyed, but the game's not over. So we escaped with the helicopter and we learned that they are producing Metal Gear 2, and now we are flying over to that base to destroy the prototype Metal Gear 2 before it's launched. And here there are invisible mines that you could see using the Minesweeper, but we don't have that, so we're just gonna do careful movement and hug the right walls to get through without getting hit. Here's a really convenient room because we get Russian drops here, so we're gonna farm plenty of those for the marathon safety. So I'm gonna get max rations here. We're also gonna need the missiles, so that's why we're here. That should... no, I can still fit two. Another prisoner here. And then we're gonna pick up some oxygen tanks for the next swimming section. And then we're gonna blow up these sandbags here, which I believe you're supposed to find out about them through interrogating enemies. Because something like that is not what you would find out on your own. So here's one of those sections where you might turn around after waiting to blow up a few walls and realizing you don't have enough resources to get through. And now there's gonna be some sentries in the water, and the sentries and these mines move randomly, so we're just gonna try and make our best movement through them. So there's a sentry and we don't want to touch that. They should die from 4 hits, and they have like invincibility frames, so you might think that you can just spam them. You actually can't. You just can't see that they're invincible after a few hits. Now we enter the train, which is one of my favorite musics in this game.
Oh yeah, this is good too.
And then there's these needles coming from the floor of the train for some reason. And there's actually an item that's boots, because Snake's not wearing boots, and that's why he's taking damage from the needles.
I'm guessing the pattern there is also random, so...
The patterns aren't random,
Okay.
but I think it's just convenient to just basically run through that room.
Yeah.
And then they have these, like I mentioned earlier, rooms where if you just go in the blind, you're just gonna die. So in that room, if you just walk in and keep walking, you're gonna get noticed instantly, so you need to know to stop moving there. And then there are these pits. Another thing, if you just walk to the key, you're gonna die. So you better learn from the first time. So coming up is John Turner. Our guy who we sacrificed in the beginning of the game. There's another pit here, so I'm just gonna go up and avoid that pit. Oh no, it's not John Turner. Who is he? He's a spy. What is he spying? I don't know. So we're just gonna shoot missiles into his and our own face, because he takes damage but we don't, and that's probably one of Snake's superpowers or something. We get a powered armor, which we have to put on and take off whenever we want to use it. Snake is so happy to have defeated the train that he's gonna do a moonwalk. Let's heal up. Because in here we're gonna have to blow up a lot of walls, which are automatically gonna trigger alarms because there are no silencers for the bombs, obviously. So there's gonna be a lot of running around with guards after you.
Now the Snake is buff, he can move some boulders.
There's an item which I think is X-ray or something that lets you see which walls are fake, but we're not gonna need that item.
Ah, interesting. Those seemed like pretty nice guards.
Yeah, it was pretty good RNG how they moved into my knife. And another interesting game design. They have these weird warehouses with floating platforms.
That's the future of automation. Drone pallets.
I wanted to heal there pretty early, because if I place a bomb, then pause to heal, the pause is actually gonna get rid of the bomb, so I wanted to heal before I get to the bomb and on lower health. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I messed up there a little bit, because I forgot to crouch. But the enemies are... they can't really bend their arms for some reason, so they don't shoot down. So we're fine. We're just gonna enter every room crouched and then run whenever we can. They also can't see down, so... it's worth a try. Let's not die to a bomb here. I'm gonna heal just to be safe. In that type of sections, if you can get hit from a bullet or touching an enemy, you take less damage than from a bomb. So if you're smart, you can get hit by those right when you're about to get hit by a bomb, so you take less damage than you would from the bomb. There's also a battery pickup in this game, because our radio runs out of battery, and that means that you can't ask your friends for help. But they can still call you even if you don't have any battery, so... how do radios work? So these are mines that we're gonna use for the next boss. And these have a random pattern of movement too, so we have to sometimes wait for them.
the hitboxes of these mines are kind of off. Even though it looks like Zaz hit them, they're actually a little bit behind the mines, so you don't take damage even though it looks like you hit them.
So now we're coming up to the next boss, which is very RNG heavy because it's a tank and it rolls up and down. Sometimes it takes a while for it to come down, sometimes it comes down instantly and just runs over you before you get to safety. You can try go up here, but the tank might just be in your face and then you die, so we're just gonna wait here for it to come and throw some mines under it, because that's how we kill tanks in Finland.
Wow, he's taking his time.
Or sometimes he might just shoot you. If he happens to fire right when you're diagonal to him, like that. That was a quick no-scope from him. So there isn't really a safe strat to go about this, you can imagine.
That was fast. Nice.
Yeah, that was a fast one now. You can imagine running up to him and trying to throw mines under it just as it's coming to you is not really a safe strat for casual or speedrun. Come on. So this is a decent place to try farm some rations, because there's a lot of guards in easy places here. And here, if you use a... well, there's like IR goggles that you can use to see the lasers there and avoid getting caught. But it's pretty fast to just run straight through and punch them right as they spawn on the screen. So here's a very intense side-scrolling section where you're supposed to hide from these guards that are peeking from the trolley, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, even though it looks like the guard is looking right at you, you actually have to be like on top of him to get caught, so on the front part you're safe.
So we're going down here for another key card and a prisoner. Let's see how many rations we actually have. We have 4, okay. So we know to farm more. Nice, 2 drops. Three. That is excellent RNG, because sometimes you have runs where you don't get any drops at all. Actually, if you want to get like a world record run in this, you have to have really good RNG on the drops and not have to farm any. So here's a prisoner, and we also get full health from ranking up. Okay, we should be pretty much set on rations here. I thought I could sneak through there, but I guess I'm just gonna run through here. Now we have a few more sections of these with nothing to do on them. Yeah, you can imagine playing this normally and trying to stay in the middle, and when you see a guard you have like 2 frames to hide from him, so it's not really something you can actually do.
Can you even react to that? Like,
Yeah. And then if you get caught, there's gonna be like enemies on jetpacks flying at you, and not sure if they shoot rockets too, but they're like they're really bad to have to deal with.
sounds like fun.
And naturally we want to stand at the tip of the trolley to get the screen transitions faster. Still on screen. You might see there that we have keycards 4 and 6, but we don't have the 5 in the middle, and that's for some reason over here hidden behind that door that needs a 6. So now the keycard numbers might get a player confused. Oh no, I'm missing one. Should I go back? Should I not go back? I'm gonna go here and pick up a few oxygen tanks. If you wanna play it risky, you can use a few rations while suffocating yourself in the water, but I'm gonna use the oxygen tanks to be safe.
Somebody in chat asked what pros do the ranks give you? I guess we didn't explain that.
The ranks give you more health and more carrying capacity, and if you're too low rank at the boss, then you don't have enough weapons to actually kill that boss. Let's see how many of these are, because I lost count there. Okay, I have 7, that's perfect. So that's basically why we're required to rank up. And now we come to the 3 hardest side-scrolling sections in the game. If you die in one of them, you have to redo all 3. I'm gonna take a fight here because I think it's a pretty simple fight to clear on the next screen. Because otherwise you would have to wait for those cars to turn around properly for you. So that's a really quick fight I'm just gonna take. Now we hope for good RNG on these. Okay. I don't know if you can actually avoid that guard, because he just sees you even when you're on the first step there. Here's a neat little trick. If you pause while a pit is opening on the floor, the hitbox stops expanding and you can just walk over it. This is the most useful camera in the game because it just doesn't see you on that height. Can I make this? Probably no, not if they turn around like that. So the mines and the sentries can be very tricky because they can just turn around when you're about to do something. Here's a very tight room where, let's see if I can work through it. Trying to get a good RNG on where the mines are going. Oh, it just turned around. There's also that guard who's just gonna see you. I'm just gonna try avoid the mine damage. I used the bullet there to take damage, one hit of damage from the bullets instead of the mine. And actually one strat that you can do is you go underwater right before touching a mine, because then you take suffocation damage and get the invincibility to get through the mine. So that's 2 out of 3 side-scrolling sections.
That was a pretty quick turn. Is that RNG or...?
Yeah, it's RNG.
Yeah.
If they just turn around, then they can turn around really quickly again.
Yeah.
But if they actually start walking, then you know they're just gonna walk all the way.
Yeah, luckily you didn't stand up.
Yeah. You can try risk it and go when they turn around, but it's always safe when you actually wait until they start walking, because the walking takes long.
So in this section you need a lot of oxygen tanks, so
Yeah.
it's fortunate that we can farm them like from the same room.
Yeah, imagine having to go to 7 different rooms throughout the game to find those. You can actually take damage from that explosion, and there's barely enough time to actually get to a safe distance from it. I would just turn around. I'm probably gonna have to end up taking a hit here. But we actually have a lot of rations, and we're about to enter like the final sections of the game, so we should be good. I'm not sure if that camera can actually see you there. Also, there's like half health damage. Like when you're suffocating, you're taking half the health. That's not a bad alert because we can just get out here. But you can take like half, and then you're not actually at full health. Then you take a bullet shot, you might end up taking 3 visual points of damage there, and sometimes 2, depending on what half health you are. So it can be sometimes very confusing how much health you should have at sections. Okay, well, I was kind of afraid that I would have to farm rations towards the end of the game, but I'm very good on rations right now, so there won't be a need to farm. Because it can take minutes just farming the last guys. Here using the pause trick again to just walk through here. Normally you would have to go around. There's some bullets here, so I'm gonna grab those. And then we'll need mines to defeat the last boss of the game. Big boss. That should be fine. Let's just make sure for marathon. I'm just gonna shoot these guys because I don't really need to farm rations at this point anymore because I have so many. And this is a smoke bomb that we'll need later to alert our helicopter crew. Imagine beating the final boss and realizing that you need that item.
Yeah, I was just thinking that this is the only place you can get. Oh wow.
This is pretty much the only enemy who doesn't turn around with RNG. He actually has a set pattern, so that makes it a lot easier to get through him. I don't know why they didn't do that for the other guards. So we're gonna need more missiles for the last bosses of the game. Just gonna kill this guy. So here's Nick, our other teammate. If you talk to him, he dies. So we'll just not talk to him. He actually tells you how to beat the final boss, and then does that with his last breath and dies away. And I'll explain more about the boss as we get there. And we're now entering the final section of the game. Heal up for the boss fight because he does a lot of damage at once, and I don't know if I have like a half hit point lost, so I might take more damage than I think. So here's Big Boss, and we're gonna hide behind this corner over here and shoot missiles. And he thinks that's perfectly fine. He'll just shoot at the wall. And there, he's dead. Or is he? He now has a mech suit, and what Nick told us about him is that he has a life support system in this room, so we're gonna have to lure him into the next room and beat him over here. Actually, I didn't need to pause there yet. So we're just gonna spam mines into his face until he dies. There.
Alright.
And that's the final boss of the game. Or is it? Metal Gear 2 is up. I guess we're gonna have to go defeat that one too. Here is Jennifer, who is a spy, who's gonna help us in this direction. Thank you. or great music. And now imagine coming here and not having the smoke bomb. We're gonna use it that they're then going to blow up the door using the helicopter. And here is Metal Gear 2.
Metal Gear.
Keep out. There's a pattern on these doors, and it actually changes if you hit the doors, so just try to stay on the right pattern. There should be 14 missiles, and we started at 21, so if you're smart you can count when we're gonna beat the boss, and when we're gonna hit the time.
I gotta say, this may be a bit anticlimactic way of beating Metal Gear.
Oh. Choke.
But still, the game itself is good.
That's time.
Good job.
That was a pretty decent run, especially because of the RNG. I did a mistake here and there, but the RNG really made up for all the time that I lost during the run. Here we get a short dialogue on what happened to our teammates. So that was Snake's Revenge on the NES, the Konami sequel to the original Metal Gear. Yeah, thank you for watching, and we are ready for the next run. Maybe next FinnRuns or SGU I'll be running a different game, so I'll see you guys there.